I think opponent's going to be real sad about this Wheel of Fortune, because here comes an alms collector. Today on Commander Replay, we get a little bit Staxy as we check out this GoFundMe submitted Lin Sivvi deck. Next on Commander Replay. The 2020 GoFundMe is active. If you want to do one-on-one deck reviews with me, or get one of your decks played on video, be sure to check out the link in the description below. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Lin Sivvi Defiant Hero today, and today's deck list comes to us from GoFundMe supporter Adam. And let's take a look at this opening hand. We've got 4 lands, got an Arch, got a Pariah. Oh, that looks fun. Got a Sphere of Resistance. He did say there was a little bit of stacks in this deck, and it looks like we found it. This hand is pretty reasonable. Let me just see what we're facing real quick. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like Sphere of Resistance could be pretty good. Let's keep this hand. I feel pretty good about it. So the main plan of this deck is to overwhelm the board. However, there is one combo involving Task Force, Gauntlets of Light, and Outriders and Core that can do infinite damage. Let me jump over to those real quick. So we got Task Force, which says whenever it becomes a target of spell or ability, it gets +0/+3 until end of turn. Gauntlets of Light says enchanted creature gets +0/+2 and assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Can untap it. And then Outriders and Core is a free repeatable target that redirects damage, so you can make infinite toughness, which will give the creature infinite damage because of the Gauntlets of Light. But that's still combat damage, so that's only going to be against a single target, so that's important to keep in mind. But still useful, still useful. So we'll see if that happens, but anyway, Soul Ring for opponent. Uh-oh, we going last? No, we're going second, okay. Whew, went last in a lot of games I filmed last week, and it was awful. There's a Wrath of God, gives us some answers in case people start pouring out the creatures, so let's play a land, and we'll pass like that. Take a look at what Lin Sivvi does. It's 1 white for a 1/3. It's a human rebel. And it says pay X, tap it, search your library for a rebel permanent with converted mana cost X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And then pay 3, put target rebel card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. So with a lot of mana, you can dig out any rebel cards you want from your deck, and with more mana, you can put them back from your graveyard into your library to get them again. So pretty cool little commander, one that I've always wanted to play and just never got around to. So I'm excited to be checking this out today, because I think it's LSV, somewhere on Channel Fireball. He tells a lot of stories about what Lin Sivvi's standard was like. The Legend rule was very different then, and I think it was whoever played Lin Sivvi first, whoever was on the play in that environment was basically going to win because the other player couldn't cast Lin Sivvi. And I heard that was like a genuinely terrible standard, so kind of a legendary card in that sense. Got some backstory to it, pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to run this today. And importantly, it's a white creature that tutors for stuff, which there just aren't a lot of white cards that tutor for things. So creatures especially, so that's pretty exciting. I'm excited to give this a go. Brings it to our second turn. We draw a land tax. Ephara is into play on turn 2. Do we want Sphere of Resistance right here, or do we want land tax? I think I'm going to hold off on the Sphere of Resistance. I think it's only going to help the Soul Ring player more, so let's just go for the Arch and the land tax. And we'll pass like that. I feel like let's get Lin Sivvi in first before the Sphere of Resistance. Fa'adia Seer. Draw a card and reveal it. If it isn't a land card, discard it. That is a color-shifted version of Sinbad out of Planar Chaos. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today. First up, we have Chaotix 2075 piloting Muldrotha the Gravetide. Not really sure what he's up to yet. Muldrotha, a very strong graveyard commander, though. I did tell people to bring stronger decks today. Adam did say that he plays this deck in a higher power setting, thus we see things like Sphere of Resistance. So we'll see what's happening with Muldrotha. I don't know. Chaotix doesn't usually go for the strongest possible build of any given commander, so we'll see what kind of weird stuff he's got going on for us today. Next up, we've got Kithron piloting Brallin and Shabraz, the Skyshark team. This deck is going to feature a lot of wheels, a lot of looting, a lot of discard. There are definitely some combos. Things like Curiosity, what's the goat that discards stuff, can be pretty good. And then finally, we've got Zombie Caller piloting Ephara, God of the Polis. Needs to have 7 devotion to be a creature, is indestructible, and at the beginning of each upkeep, if you had another creature enter the battlefield under your control last turn, draw a card. Generally, Ephara tends to be some sort of like blue-white control with blink creatures, maybe some tokens kind of stuff. So I would say like creatures and control is usually what I see out of Ephara. And they do get themselves a Signet into play. Opponent's going to play a white main lion. Oh, yeah, okay. So I was trying to figure out where all their mana went. They played a white main lion last turn. They're going to play white main lion once again because with white main lion coming in and bouncing itself, that means it's basically pay 2, draw a card next turn is what that's going to do. So pretty good, pretty good. Man, Ephara's pretty ahead. I'm really eyeing the Sphere of Resistance. I don't play Sphere of Resistance a lot, so like these type of cards can be skill intensive. And just having not played this one specifically, I'm like a little bit, when is the right time? I think let's get Lin Sivvi right here. I think that makes the most sense for us. And then we're just going to pitch all the extra lands. So we did draw a land for our draw per turn with the land tax, and that is a problem with Magic Online, that you have this really high likelihood of doing that. I would say that it's about 75 or 80% of the time when you use a land tax, you will draw a land for your card per turn. And it's actually a really good way to lose the game because you end up not drawing gas when you need it. One's going to tap their Seer. It's a Burnish Heart. Burnish Heart goes to the graveyard. Burnish Heart, a really good card. I'm sure they wanted that one. I want a Burnish Heart right now. I would have totally played a Burnish Heart on our turn. Opponent did get an Ominous Season to play, by the way, and they put a counter on it on their upkeep right here as they draw, or in their draw step, rather. Soul Ring for Team Skyshark. Yep. People are out ramping us. I think Sphere of Safety probably coming down this turn. Oh, there's a Signet. Oh, yep. Kind of wish I did that sooner. Crackdown. Just taking a peek through the deck list right now. Non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap. Yeah. Oh, man. I got to use that more. It just occurred to me, I don't actually know the creatures in this deck that well. I'm like, that's a requisite of playing this deck. Oh! Ephara's going to cast Approach the Second Sun, but Kithron's got a Swan Song for that, so that's not going to resolve. So we'll send them a nice message. Opponent's going to draw with the Ephara once again, and we'll get another land tax trigger. There's a pretty high basic count in this deck, so we're actually okay to kind of just draw the max for a while and just try to thin our deck a little bit. This time we drew an Austere Command. That's actually pretty helpful. Can't get to it yet. We're on our 4th land. Play our 4th land. I'm going to go Sphere of Resistance, and maybe we'll see if there's any cool mercenaries in our deck for 2 at the end step. Chaotix activates the Seer once again. Oh, actually, no. So Chaotix gonna... Never mind. Chaotix gonna use the Sinister Concoction to shoot our Lin Sivvi. That is unfortunate. Back to the command zone. You know, part of me almost thought about pathing our Lin Sivvi just to ramp a little, but that's a pretty good piece of removal, so... We'll see if Sphere of Resistance hopefully slows down some of the nonsense. Because opponents are definitely getting into the 2 spells a turn rather than the 1 spell a turn. While we're still kind of on 1 spell a turn for a little while, so hopefully the Sphere does what we want it to do. Mills a Chamber of Manipulation. Enchantland has tap, discard a card, gain control of target creature until end of turn. That's not awful. Borrowing creatures repeatedly can be pretty good. Ominous Sea is going to get a counter on it. That's a Wheel of Fortune. Well, I definitely wish I pathed the Lin Sivvi now. I don't think any of these things are really worth Path to Exile. I don't feel like giving my opponents a land. So we're just going to discard it. This hand's interesting. We have 2 mana doublers in it. I like that. We definitely need to ramp. Oh, hey, Ominous Sea is going to get a bunch of counters on it. Seems pretty good. It's up to 9 counters. They can make an 8/8 when they want to. Let's see what we got. We got an Amru Scout, which can search for more rebels. And we've got a Defiant Falcon, which can also search for rebels. So I think maybe we get the Falcon into play, and we probably won't be able to do anything beside that, but start looking toward the sort of Feast and Famine after that, and hopefully kind of get ourselves caught up mana-wise. Looks like opponent could be holding a counterspell, but it would have to be a 1-mana counterspell. Maybe they might just not have anything because of the Sphere. Watcher of the Sphere is coming in. 2/2 flying. Creatures with flying cost 1 less to cast. That's pretty good. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, Watcher gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeah, it's a pretty cool little card. Oh yeah, we talked about this one in chat earlier today. He did say this is a flying tribal kind of deck. Thus we see things like Watcher of the Spheres. Loyal Drake coming in for opponent. Pretty good card. Pretty good card. Triggers Watcher of the Spheres. Loyal Drake gonna draw a card. Sends a bird in our way. Sure. So based on what I saw from that wheel in opponent's graveyard right here, it looks like they were looking for more land drops because the cards in their hand were actually pretty good. Niv Mizzet, Counterspell, Swords. And that screamed to me just like, I need lands. Pretty painful to have to give those up right there. Land tax trigger. Probably getting to a point where it might slow down on the lands soon. Ooh, Arcane Signet. Arcane Signet gets a little bit awkward with Sphere. Hopefully we can get Arcane and thing. Yeah, we should be able to. So play a land, play Arcane Signet, and then get this Falcon. I like the Falcon because it has flying. Should be pretty easy to get in somewhere with the Feast and Famine next turn. Alright, so I feel pretty good about that turn. Discard a land. Here comes the Thrashing Brontodon. Oh, Thrashing Brontodon can shoot Feast and Famine, can shoot Gauntlet of Power. Kithron gonna make an 8/8 in response to the Thrashing Brontodon. Let's see if KO pops the Ominous Seas right away or if he holds on to the Brontodon. Because if he holds on to it, that's going to make life terrible for us. Arcane Signet for the Skyshark opponent. This is where you want a Faith Shield. Protect yourself from the Brontodon. Two really good artifacts in hand. There's a Glinthorn Buccaneer for opponent. Yeah, those are good too. Does have haste. I mean, I don't want to do this, but like we could use the Gauntlet of Power to then try and bait the Brontodon and then try the Feast and Famine afterwards. We've got a 2/4 coming our way. Nothing we're going to do about that. 8/8 over 2 Ephara. They can either block or take some damage. They're going for the damage down to 32. We're down to 36. Opponent gets a Reliquary Tower. Pretty relevant for what they're doing. Although, you know what? The White Mane Lion is now out of their hand because of the wheel. So that's actually a pretty good thing. Taking a peek at what they lost. They lost some things. Creatures, Wrath of God, Approach got counter. Late Line of Anticipation is a good one. Ghostly Flicker is good. Rogue's Passage, yeah. They lost some stuff that I'm sure they wanted. There's a Solemn Simulacrum, more ramp for opponent. Archon of Absolution. Recent one out of Throne of Eldraine. Recent for me in that I haven't seen it very much. Flying Protection from white. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1. Ooh. That's pretty good. Loyal Drake will trigger. Actually wouldn't mind a board wipe, but we discarded 2 of them in that wheel. 3/3 into us. 2/2 into Skyshark. And another 2/2 into the Skyshark. Yeah, board wipe would actually be really good right here because then we could also get rid of the Brontodon as well, and that would be good. I'm going to go no on the land tax trigger just because of the thing I talked about earlier with the draws. Ooh, we draw a Meekstone. Oh, they all have 2 power. Oh, that one's huge, though. Play a Plains. I can't decide if I just want to run our Gauntlet out there. Oh, you know what I could do? We could use the Meekstone and then try and have them shoot the Meekstone with the Brontodon because no one wants any of that. Yeah, let's do that. I think I like that. So play Meekstone, and then we can spend 4 on our end step to activate the Falcon and see what kind of rebels we can get. KO could also shoot the Sphere of Resistance. That would be a very reasonable play also. I mean, he's definitely not going to let me have a Feast and Famine just based on the sheer amount that I talk about Feast and Famine. A Gauntlet is maybe 50-50. I'm not sure if he would or if he wouldn't. Yeah, he's going to shoot the Sphere of Resistance right here. I'm totally cool with that because I want to be able to get these doublers down next turn. And if anyone else, if Kithron has artifact removal, he's probably going to use it on this Meekstone so that his 8/8 untaps. So, decent chances for people to use artifact and enchantment removal on stuff before we get back to our Gauntlet of Power, Feast and Famine. So trying to bait a little bit with some of the plays that we've got. Draw the removal out so that the things we really want don't get shot. Opponent can activate the Seer again. They've got a Teferi's Ageless Insight. If you would draw a card except for the first one in each of your draw steps, draw 2 instead. So they get 2 off of the Seer and then have to discard 1. It's not too bad. Must have been a land. They didn't reveal it. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Broken Bond on the Ominous Seas. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of that. One less piece of removal for our doublers. Also, Broken Bond. Pretty good. You may put a land on the battlefield from your hand. And they do. Shoot something and ramp. Good times. A lot of things could be good right here. Opponent's got some mana. The Sphere is gone. Looks like they got some stuff they want to use. Homeward Path into play for them. Good to keep in mind. In case stuff gets stolen. Oh, Neurophage. When you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Cool. It's got flying. Flying makes it relevant. Means we can't just swing in with the bird. Unfortunate. Frantic Search. Pretty good. Yep. Triggers the Neurophage twice. And that'll trigger a Glinthorn twice, so 2 damage to each opponent. I probably got to use this Archon more. I've got a long list of creatures I'm trying to test in Aurelia. This one's probably worth testing. 3/2 flyer, 4 mana, pro white, and a ghostly prison type of effect. I know there's like other versions of creatures that do the same sort of thing, but protection from white is a big deal. Takes off swords and path. Also, if you just have to block flyers coming in, block angels that are coming back at you. Because what's the angel that does it? There's the one that's like straight up ghostly prison. What's that called? I can't remember the name now. Windborn Muse. But I think that one's what, a 2/2? And the difference between a 3/2 and a 2/2 can be somewhat significant. Protection from white's also kind of a big deal. 3/2 means that like it really trades with a lot more stuff. Also, and again, the protection from white just gives, protection's so good. The other one that needs to be untapped, Archangel of Tithes, that one kind of needs vigilance or some sort of untapped thing to really do what you want it to do, so you can't always attack with it, but yeah, this thing looks kind of cool. That's a Conjurer's Closet for opponent. That's really good with a Solemn. Soul Warden. That's also really good. Ephara, now a creature. Loyal Drake will trigger. Yep, just all the value over there. Is Cho Mano a rebel? Is that in this deck? Ooh, opponent did not leave any flying blockers. Excellent. 3/2 flying coming in our way, pro white. Yeah, not going to do much about that. Ooh, opponent's going to Teferi's Protect. Okay. Seems early. Opponent's going to path on their Glinthorn Buccaneer. Okay. In response to the Teferi's Protection. Now opponent's a little bit low on cards. They've only got 2 cards left. It's all very interesting. For 6 damage, I probably hold that Teferi's a little bit longer. Unless they've got something. I don't know what that something is, but that's an Anointed Procession for opponent. That's pretty good. Okay, let's go to the end step. Opponent's going to get a Conjurer's Closet. See what they want to... Ooh, they can untap something. Okay, they're just going to get a Solemn. Yep. Got to ride that Solemn value. But they don't have a flying blocker. The problem is the Ghostly Prison creature. I don't think we have enough mana to go Gauntlet of Power, Feast and Famine, do all that sort of stuff, and then still pay for the Ghostly Prison. Opponent gets another land. Yep. So end step here, I'm going to activate our Rebel and see what Rebels we can go find. Alright, so we got Task Force. Task Force can do the infinite damage thing, but we don't have the other piece of that combo. Shield Dancer. Next time target attacking creature would deal combat damage to Shield Dancer, deals it to itself instead. That's kind of cool, but a little bit mana intense. Searches for things. This one redirects damage, kind of cool. Mirror Entity, always good. Probably not ready for that just yet. Lightbringer exiles black creatures, maybe. Exiles red creatures, Lawbringer, maybe. Knight of the Nimbus, cool because it's hard to kill. Also flanking. Defiant Vanguard, when it blocks at end of combat, destroy it and all creatures it blocked this turn. It's not awful, but no flying. Children of Corliss is cool. Oh, we can put Bound in Silence on something. That's kind of cool. And then Aven Rift Watcher gains us life. Not a lot of ground creatures I'm worried about yet. I think I'm just going to get the Nimbus. That'll trigger a Soul Warden. I just like Knight of the Holy Nimbus. It may not be the best card right here, but I just think it's cool. Ephara and Land Tax will trigger. I'm going to say no to the Land Tax once again. There's a Mana Crypt. That's actually very useful mana. That's actually incredibly useful because I really want to attack Zombie. I really didn't want to attack KO. Doesn't feel quite right. So play the Plains, play Mana Crypt, get Gauntlet of Power. Oh, by the way, I replaced the snow basics with regular basics because I don't have all the snow basics. Choose color. That's going to be white. Let's play this Feast and Famine. Equip this Feast and Famine. Play this Scout. Soul Warden triggers. 1 floating, can't do anything with it. Go to combat. Swing into Zombie. Pay 1. Hit Zombie, get a Feast and Famine trigger. Excellent. Now move the Feast and Famine over to the Nimbus so that our other guy can untap. Cast Lin Sivvi. We've got 1 mana floating. Let's see, that's 5 to draw a card. Or do we just let that go and then grab a Rebel at the end step? I think we grab a Rebel at the end step. Chaotic says, couldn't choose blue, could you? Way to cut me out. Yep, there's Muldrotha. Yeah, opponent's going to get some help off the Gauntlet of Power. Sinister Concoction coming back to play. Muldrotha in and recasting Sinister Concoction from the graveyard. KO not interested in the value, so going to shoot the Solemn Simulacrum right here with Sinister Concoction. All about that. Opponent draws a card as it dies. Take a peek, see if there's any other Rebels that I need to be aware of. There's a Changeling. You get 2 of them. Cho Mano. Kind of cool in case a big ground creature comes in. That one's kind of cool. That one can untap all your creatures if stuff attacks you. Could be relevant. They need like 1 or 2 more really cool Changelings in white. Taurine Mauler is one of my favorite changelings in red, and white just doesn't have anything that like scales that well. The changeling cohort is all right. It makes 2/2/2s, but it's like fine. Can do some stuff in some decks that care about like creature triggers. It can definitely help, but I don't know. For this deck, doesn't seem the most exciting. Oh, that's a Whirlwind of Thought. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. That seems pretty good. Remember that Sphere of Resistance? I feel like we want that now. It's in our graveyard. It's gone. Makes me sad. There's a Divining Top. Oh, hey now. Yeah, that's a problem. It's all a problem. Triggers the Onerophage. So you can just, like, keep casting stuff and make your storm count crazy, I think, until you run out of mana. Seems really good. Path to Exile. Let's see what this is going to be on. Going on the Loyal Drake. Nice. Opponent going to draw a card. That's their last card. Triggers the Onerophage. Library of Lang. Also good. Triggers the Onerophage. It's an 8/9. It's getting up there. Won't untap, though, unless they deal with the Meekstone. That's an Echo of Eons. I'm actually totally okay with that. We've only got 2 lands in hand. And that's also why that I haven't just been grabbing every single land with land tax. If you know there's going to be wheels, you don't want to pull every land out of your deck because you want to be able to get some afterwards. Is this a shuffle wheel? That's a shuffle wheel. That puts all the things that we want back. Ooh, that does put the lands back in the deck. So yeah, we'll definitely be grabbing all the lands we possibly can on our upkeep. But like if this were a red wheel that doesn't shuffle, then, you know, you want to have some lands left in your deck so you can go grab them with the thing. Hey, there's an Alms Collector. If another wheel should happen, that could get kind of crazy. Also, there's a Flawless Maneuver. Protects us against a board wipe. Sun Titan. I like what's going on here. I like these cards. Only 3 lands. Not too bad, not too bad. I like decks that run a lot of lands and a lot of ramp, and one of the problems that I'll run into occasionally is that if someone wheels, and I had all the gas in my hand because I've been playing lands and ramp for the first couple turns, I'll draw another hand that is mostly lands and ramp. And it gets really easy to run out of gas when that's the case. Oh, I think opponent's going to be real sad about this Wheel of Fortune because here comes an Alms Collector. This thing up to 16 power, by the way. I've been waiting so long to get someone with this. I don't run Alms Collector that much. One of my problems is it misses so many things. Like, you got this thing right here. Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora are the big ones you see a lot. And it just doesn't get them. There's so many draw 1 effects that Alms Collector misses that it's hard for me to justify 4 CMC slot for it, especially if you have like multiple colors. In mono white, I can see it. Especially, you know, we're playing a little bit Staxy this game. We've got some stuff. We got Meekstone. We saw the Sphere of Resistance. We see the Alms Collector. Should we just fire off the Flawless Maneuver? Because we're still going to discard, right? Yeah, we're still going to discard. So cast this without paying its mana cost. Will get awkward if someone had a free counter, though. KO's up to 14. He's drawing 2 every time a draw happens. We were talking about, actually, this exact interaction in chat today. Let's see what happens when... Because Alms Collector is a replacement effect. This is also a replacement effect. I think ours is going to win out because timestamps and layers. Ours is the most recent, so I think it gets priority. Pretty sure that's how that ruling works, but once you get into layers and timestamps, I am not the authority on the rules when you get that deep into them. I recommend you check with the judge. Okay, interesting. So KO still drew 2 cards. And we drew 10 cards. 10 cards is really good. And importantly, Ephara's only got 1 card. So, you know, people are kind of needing board wipes now. And not a lot of cards in hand. It's going to be difficult for opponents to... Oh, that thing's got flying? We have a flyer? We don't, but I've got a plan for that. Oh, Lin Sivvi's a tap? Oh no, I forgot it's a tap. This is going to hurt a little bit. We could just die to combat damage. Maybe I should have went for the Children of Corliss. That's a 4/3. That one doesn't untap, thankfully. That one doesn't untap. Nice. Okay, yeah, I guess this is going to hit. Wow, it's got flying. Should have went for the Children of Corliss. Slaughter the Strong. That's fun. Oh, down to 9. Ephara's going to get a good crack at it. As long as that stays on tap, we should be okay. As long as they don't untap with those. They've got the 2/2 they can get in with the air. Hope for no equipments. We can block ground stuff reasonably well. Ideally, Tutor, what can that get us? I would go for a True Conviction right here. No True Conviction. Talisman's okay. Okay with the Talisman. Treasure Map is also okay. Okay, I don't think we're dying right here. I gotta read Slaughter the Strong. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control. So you save everything with 4 power or less. For us, that's most of our stuff. We would lose the Alms Collector, but it's done its job. That would get rid of Ephara, get rid of all that nonsense, get rid of this Archon, which could be kind of a big deal. The Gauntlet of Power, giving opponent stuff +1/+1, actually helping a little bit right now because of the Meek Stone. Hadn't expected that interaction. Ooh, we have an Oketra's Monument. I like Oketra's Monument. We've already got Smothering Tithe. It's probably one of the better enchantments we can get. See if there's anything else that we want to get enchantment-wise. Oh, we get the infinite damage thing, although our creatures don't have haste. Blind Obedience gives us life gain. That could be something to think about. Kind of want that Flawless Maneuver back, because then we can just do the Austere Command thing and life would be good. Opponent's going to Conjurer's Closet. They can untap their Archon right here. That is relevant. That is relevant. Brings it back to our turn. Mana Crypt, Land Tax, Ephara all trigger. Ooh, we're getting down there on life, aren't we? Use Land Tax. Max lands. Mana Crypt flip. Going tails. Won the flip. Alright, we want to keep that life total as high as we can. 9 is pretty low. What do we draw? We draw Children of Corliss. Where was that last turn? Whoops. Okay, play a land. Playing Slaughter the Strong gets rid of Muldrotha, gets rid of these two, gets rid of the Archon, which I really want to do, gets rid of Ephara. I think that's all really good stuff. Okay. So the play right here, I think, is going to be tap Lin Sivvi, pay 3, get Mirror Entity. Where's Mirror Entity? Can you not get Mirror Entity? What? Oh, it's in our graveyard. It got milled. Oh no, we can't do the thing that I wanted to do. Blah. Crap. Crap. I didn't see that we discarded it. That's bad. We're gonna have to use up a lot more mana doing this now then. Let's get an Aven Riftwatcher because we need some life. So we gained 2 life on the way in. I wish I had noticed that. It's okay. We're okay though. Put Mirror Entity back in the deck like we're supposed to do. We're gonna have to activate this bird. Actually, I like the bird. Doesn't matter. 3/2 flyer. Let's activate this guy instead. Now get Mirror Entity. We're going to change everything of ours to base power and toughness 1 so that we don't hit our own stuff. We're going to cast Slaughter the Strong. Oh no, we're going to lose the Nimbus. That is a sacrifice, so that will not protect the Nimbus. Choose any number of creatures you control with total power 4 or less. Oh no, we get to keep everything. Oh, total power 4 or less. Oh, God, I might have messed all this up. I think I just made mistakes. Mistakes were made. Total power 4 or less. Okay, well in that case I just made a lot of boo-boos. Choose the Nimbus. I misunderstood that. I guess I've never played this card before. That cleaned out a lot of stuff on board. Aven Riftwatcher goes down. We gain 2 more life. That's not awful. Lin Sivvi to the command zone. What do we do next? I think I like Blind Obedience. Sounds really good. I want to get my life total back up. So instead, I'm going to go about it this way. I'm going to go Oketra's Monument. Children of Corliss. Triggers the Oketra's Monument. That'll create a token. Opponent will gain a life with the Soul Warden. Seems good. We get a 2/2 with Vigilance. It's not awful. Let's go to combat. Swing into Kithron. They've got some nasty stuff over there. Need to get this sword hit in, untap our lands, do more crazy things. Feast and Famine hits. They discard, we untap. Oh, they discarded the top of their library because the library is lying. Yeah, it's pretty good. Blind Obedience is going to take some mana, but I think it's probably worth it. Oh, right, we can put Pariah on Chomano. I forgot that that's a thing in this deck. Well, anyway, let's continue on the Blind Obedience plan since that's what we planned for. Get Blind Obedience. Get Smothering Tithe. We'll pay for the Extort. Up to 16. Try and get our commander if we can. I don't know if we can afford this. Nope, we're 1 short, so let's get the Outrider. Although we can hold up Eerie Interlude also. Let's go for the Outrider. Opponents are really low on cards. Oketra's Monument, Blind Obedience. Opponent gains life. We'll Extort. Up to 19. Yeah, gaining 6 life back right here feels pretty good. And then I guess we move the sword so that the Nimbus untaps. Pass like that, so I totally misread Slaughter the Strong and just misunderstood what it does. But all in all, I think we've recovered really well. Having 2 mana doublers in play with like 10 cards in hand means that you can probably work your way out of some trouble. And that's what we did. So I feel pretty good about where we're at still. Opponents really got to get some stuff going. Either answer our stuff or find a way to win through it. And it's not impossible, but it's a lot to ask in this moment. We have a lot of varied effects going on, too. We've got some life gain. takes away various stuff. We've got Blind Obedience, which slows down certain types of plays. Definitely won't be like some big haste kind of thing. The fact that we can kind of gain life back as we get more mana and we can do more stuff is good. Muldrotha back to play. Yep. Soul Warden. Opponent gains a life. Opponent going to draw with the Seer. Yep, they'll get 2. Opponent going to draw with their Divining Top. Put it back on top. Yep. Triggers the Smothering Tithe. If nothing else, if they go wild with draw on their next turn, at least we'll have a ton of mana. We only have the Eerie Interlude as like instant speed effects, and with these tokens coming in right here, we will be able to cast it. But I guess if there's more wheels, that should happen. We're looking at a lot of lands in hand right now, so like if we run into more instant speed stuff, that could be helpful if they start wheeling like crazy again. Teferi's Ageless Insight for the Skyshark opponent. Yep. They're going to increase their own draw now. Ooh. So they'll be getting 2 cards per Whirlwind of Thought. Now, they are limited by mana. They don't have like tons and tons of mana. It looks like maybe about 7 or 8 currently. And if they draw a lot right here, that's going to feed us big time. So that is the thing. Divining Top, Whirlwind of Thought, draw 2. I do miss our Alms Collector, though. Smothering Tithe twice. Teferi's Puzzle Box. I'm actually on board for that. That will give us a lot more tokens, and that'll give us a new hand, which I think we badly want. We're at the point of the game, too, where, like, I've talked about this in the past. Late game Blind Obedience with some mana is a win condition. Now, like, I know we have other things we can do, too. We can go get Mirror Entity and then do the pump thing again. And then I think, that'll do a lot. But if that doesn't kill anyone, then Blind Obedience plus mana is how we can finish it out. Especially with the Puzzle Box. I don't know if it's going to work like this, but if we could land tax before the Puzzle Box, is this draw step? We can land tax before the Puzzle Box. As long as opponents have enough lands. I haven't counted the lands up. Chasm Skulker. Yeah, that's pretty good with the Puzzle Box. Comes in tapped. Ooh, yeah, Blind Obedience. Gonna keep everything tapped. Opponent's not gonna have blockers. Blind Obedience is so good. I gotta use this card more. I always say that, and then I never do. I just gotta put it in some decks. Oh, man. Just does so much. Smothering Tithe, Puzzle Box. Zombie's going to scoop it right there. Yeah, there's Land Tax, Mana Crypt. We're going to get all the stuff. So grab all our lands. Mana Crypt, Tails. Lost the flip. Draw a card. Puzzle Box. Put 11 cards at the bottom. Draw 11 more. Did I miss one? Nope, there it goes. Yeah, there's things in there. There are things in there. I don't really want an Ancient Tomb at this moment. We have Mana Doubler, so Plains is just as good. Okay, so play a Plains. Ooh, 1,000-Year Elixir is actually super helpful. I don't think we need to draw any more cards in this moment. Play a Soul Ring. Both opponents are tapped out, so I think we just go on the Mirror Entity plan. So I'm not going to extort in the first main phase here. Get Lin Sivvi. Triggers Oketra's Monument and extort. Find out where our Mirror Entity is. It's in our graveyard. Let's not mess that up again. Put the Mirror Entity back into our deck. With the amount of treasure tokens that we have, I think Mirror Entity and like 2 creatures to each player is probably lethal on everyone, even if Zombie was still here. Although he's at 40. It'd be close. I'm thinking about like having to deal, all of our opponents, and the Blind Obedience probably finishes it. So get 1,000-Year Elixir. No extort. Use Lin Sivvi's ability. Get Mirror Entity. And go to combat. This should do it. Opponents could have instant speed interaction. That would not be super ideal, but we only have 2 attackers each. You may have to go on the Blind Obedience plan. Pump a crap ton into the Mirror Entity. There's X16. This is actually lethal. Down they go. Very nice. Lin Sivvi. Yeah, this deck played really, really well. I'm really happy with what I saw here. This deck played amazingly. Couple things to think about. So we did get some wheels from our opponents. Those wheels can kind of make or break how the rest of your game go, and we didn't break on any of the wheels, which was huge. We did lose some removal on that first one, but the other ones were pretty helpful to us because we had gotten all the gas out of our hand, and I think that's a pretty big deal. So the wheels kept us full. But even if not, because our doubler stuck, no one answered Gauntlet of Power and Fire and Ice, that allowed us to have insane amounts of mana, and then you can just do wild stuff with Lin Sivvi and all your rebels. That was great. We found removal when we needed it. Maybe there's some question about whether we truly needed to play that Slaughter of the Strong. It worked out anyway because we were just so far ahead that kind of in a place where like we couldn't really lose from there because opponents, they lost all their cards. At that point, after that, they lost all their creatures. So like they just had a lot of nothing happening after that point. So, you know, even though it may have taken us an extra turn or two to close it out, that still worked out really well. I do think the Sphere of Resistance at the beginning helped a lot because opponents both had Soul Ring Stars. We did not, and we didn't catch Arcane Signet till a few turns later, maybe like turn 5 or turn 6 or something like that. And so we did not have a particularly fast start, and that was able to keep opponents in check in the early part of the game, and I think that was a big deal. And there's this concept that I like to think about, especially in Aurelia decks with a lot of equipments, that if you present a lot of artifacts and enchantments to your opponents that need to be dealt with, most decks don't have unlimited amounts of artifact and enchantment removal. Many decks outside of white aren't even going to have a board wipe that can take care of those things. Some decks will have Bane of Progress, but there's plenty of decks that don't. And if you dump a bunch of powerful artifacts and enchantments in play, against certain decks, those will stick and really good things will happen. But the other thing too is that even if they have a little bit of removal, they need to use it on something like the Sphere of Resistance, and that means that removal's gone. It's smooth sailing for Gauntlet of Power and Feast and Famine when that happens, and that's a really big deal. So kind of the threat density at artifact and enchantment is also very powerful because you're forcing your opponents to have a lot of answers to that stuff, and if they're not playing white, it does get really tricky to answer a lot of artifacts and enchantments. So from what I saw here, I thought the deck played really well. You don't necessarily have to make any changes, but just a couple things I'm thinking off the top of my head. If you wanted to add some stuff, switch some things out, whatever the case. A lot of cards at 3 converted mana cost. If it were my deck, I would probably look for ways to offload this part of the curve just a little bit. One that you could, like Grasp of Fate is a very good card, but at the end of the day, Grasp of Fate is removal. You could find some removal up the curve that might be more powerful, just to alleviate the 3 mana CMC a little bit. Things that come to mind, you've got Austere Command already. You could go for like a Cleansing Nova, I think would be very reasonable. Rout is a very solid card, although Rout gets creatures, Grasp of Fate hits other stuff. Important to keep that in mind. So that's one thing you could get rid of. Opponent did mention they have the combo for the infinite damage thing. I think it's cute enough. I'd keep it in. It's unique to the deck. It's not something you really get to run too many other places, so I'd probably keep it in just for that. Eerie Interlude is protection. I like that. Dismantling Wave, again, another great piece of artifact and enchantment removal. You could go like Heliod's Intervention because you also get the life gain just to offload the 3 CMC just a little bit, but Dismantling Wave, totally fine. Yeah, everything else I felt was pretty good. One thing to think about, like mono white, if you're trying to get your mana going, Nykthos. I think these have gotten pretty expensive. Part of me thinks maybe I saw $25 last time I looked. Definitely not cheap, but if you've got multiple white permanents in play, Nykthos could be an addition to the deck just to give yourself some more mana, kind of in the mid to later turns of the game. Lets you kind of explode a little bit. But that's a high cost upgrade for something that you're not going to be able to do all the time, so I totally get it. That's like not necessarily the first place that I would spend money. But just as far as like ways to close the game out, maybe a little quicker, I might try to cut like a 3-drop or 2 and just add a little bit more up here. Like it seems like the deck produces mana really well. I don't know if this is kind of a fluke game where we just got Smothering Tithe with all the blue draw effects and wheels and stuff like that, plus the Alms Collector type of thing. So, you know, I don't know if this is kind of an abnormal game or what, but Elesh Norn is really good if you're just trying to slam a bunch of creatures and, you know, go wide. The important thing is it's going to remove a bunch of blockers. Anything with 2 toughness or less is going to go down, and that's really good. Again, Elesh Norn is very expensive. Elesh Norn, I would say, is worth its cost, more so than Nykthos. I like Nykthos, but Nykthos doesn't always do the thing that you want it to do. Elesh Norn, you know what you're getting, and it's going to hit really hard whenever you cast it. True Conviction, of course, just fantastic. Other things you could look at, just Elspeth Sun's Champion, probably very reasonable in this deck. Not a must, but it just does nice things. I think these aren't the cheapest either, so yeah, unfortunately we're looking at like all the, you know, kind of expensive stuff. And then, like, not a must by any means. We had a lot of mana this game. You're probably not going to have that much mana most of the time, but with mana, you can look at cards like Secure the Wastes or White Sun Zenith. And those just give you something in case, like, if Lin Sivvi gets shot a lot of times and you just don't think you're going to have time to, like, get Lin Sivvi in, untap with it, get some stuff going. It kind of gives you, like, an alternate plan to go on. Again, none of these are musts. I think the deck is playing really well. But just some things to think about. Another thing that you could add too, which I think is interesting, is Helm of Possession. This would allow you to just basically sack one of your rebels and steal one of opponent's creatures, and that's going to be a really good time. You can sack some rebel that doesn't matter that much, or get it back into your library from your graveyard with Lin Sivvi while stealing your opponent's best creature. I think it's a really good point of interaction. I like it in decks that have a lot of creatures, and especially your mono white, you know that you're going to be battling stuff that on its surface is more powerful than what you're doing. So one of the things you think about is like someone grabs a Consecrated Sphinx or something ridiculous like that, some big green creature, Galta, or whatever the case is. People are going to play powerful creatures at some point. Helm of Possession gives you a great way to steal those. So yeah, there's my suggestions for things that like you could add to the deck. They're not, you don't have to. Like I said, I do think it played really well, but these are some of your best options in white, just generally speaking. So, Nykthos, little expensive, maybe not worth the cost in paper. True Conviction, awesome. Elish Norn, fantastic. Elspeth, just a great card to have around, does nice things. And then Helm of Possession, I would add Helm of Possession, honestly. I think it gives you a lot of game against decks that have a lot of powerful stuff. So the deck's creator did say that they were playing this in a more powerful setting. So you're in a powerful setting, people are going to have strong creatures. Why not steal them? So that's what I would do. What I would cut, I'm not sure what I would cut. But if the 3-card combo with the Rebels thing isn't really happening all that often, you could give up on that. Certainly a place to cut from. Is a regular cohort good enough? I get, like, you get 2 of them. Does that change the tide of battle that much? I don't know. I'd have to see it. But yeah, that's what I might think about adding. Again, not a must. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, in addition to my TCG affiliate player link, I now have an affiliate link with Flipside Gaming, an LGS from my hometown. You can use the promo code REPLAY to save 10% on your next order over $10. Both affiliate links are in the description below. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.